Okay, I'd like to start out with a quick recap of Saturday's game. First of all, defensively, thought our guys played outstanding. After watching the film, they played even better than I thought. For the most part, the pass plays, we made them earn it. The quarterback made some outstanding throws. The big receiver to the boundary made some unbelievable catches, especially in the second half. Offensively, our plan going in was to be aggressive. Our plan was to play all three quarterbacks. We thought it would be successful. Obviously, it wasn't. Moving forward, Sean White will be our starting quarterback. John Franklin will get the number 2 reps this week in practice. Overall, if you look, at the big picture of things, we played the number 2 team in the country, a team that played the national championship last year with the majority of their guys back and had a chance to win the game. So that's the positive moving forward. I thought we'd find out a whole lot about our team this first game with quite a few new guys, new defensive coordinator and all that, and we got a chance to be an outstanding team. So that's what I took away from that. Just a quick update, Stephen Roberts served a 1-game suspension. He will be back this week. Now, moving forward to Arkansas State, obviously I'm familiar with them. They got outstanding head coach in Blake Anderson. He's one of the up-and-coming guys. Their AD, Terry Mohagers, is one of the best in the business, and their president, Chuck Welch, is one of the best in the business also. Talking about a team that has won the conference championship 4 out of the last 5 years. They've done an outstanding job recruiting. They got a very good team. Last week they got beat by a very good Toledo team, and so we know we're going to get their best. They got some very good skill guys on the offensive side of the football, and they got a very good defense, one of the best statistically defenses in the country last year, and I believe they got 7 of those guys back. So we know we're going to get their best, and so we've kind of turned the page on last week. We're focusing on them and getting ready to play good football. Questions?
Gus, what does this mean for Jeremy Johnson going forward?
Jeremy's still going to get reps in practice. Jeremy will be ready if called upon, and Jeremy's will be ready if we need him, and that's where we're at.
The offensive line, what was the feeling about that?
Yeah, we made some mistakes early, especially in the first half, and we had a new center starting for the first time. We moved our center to left tackle. We had a new starter at right tackle. They did some things that were a little bit different than we thought, so it was a little bit adjusting. The good thing is they got better in the second half once we started figuring out kind of what they're doing. It was good for that unit to have a game under their belt. I really feel like they will improve from week 1 to week 2.
Because you were very adamant after the game about the plan at quarterback and about the execution of it. What changed as far as the decision to go with 2? Sean the starter and John the back?
Well, going into the first game, the plan was that we were going to throw a lot at them. We felt like all 3 quarterbacks, had some things they could be successful with. We were going to give them a lot to think about. We weren't able to execute or weren't as successful as I thought we'd be with those, but that was the plan. And so a little unknown right there, throwing a lot at an opponent. And like I said, we're moving forward with Sean White and bringing along John Franklin.
Was it the rotation as far as from one possession to the next, or the rotation to one drive that concerned you?
I think it was just the overall. I mean, like I said, we thought it was a good plan. Obviously, it wasn't, like I said earlier, but the change in and out, it hurt our tempo, obviously, and so that was the take on it.
Well, John just wildcat kind of snaps too.
Who's that?
Franklin.
No, we're bringing John along with the offense, so he'll get the number 2 reps in practice.
From seeing film, what do you think John was able to do well that earned him those second team reps?
I thought when he was in there, we moved the ball pretty well. That was his first time to be out there, and we thought he handled himself pretty well for the first time being out there. From an offensive standpoint, there was some new faces out there, and from a coach's standpoint, you learn about your guys. We were curious about some of the guys and felt like he responded pretty well.
Were you surprised that Jeremy was as tentative as he was? Was that part of the issue Saturday?
No, there's a lot of things that happen when somebody looks tentative. There was a few protection breakdowns. There was a few holes that we thought would be a little cleaner to run through that weren't as clean as we thought.
Anything that jumped out with the red zone offense where you guys struggled?
Well, you got to execute. You got to make plays. One time down there we had one that was overturned. It was a really close play. Another time we had a guy open and just kind of barely overthrew him. But bottom line is we got to score points, and that'll definitely be a focus moving forward.
When Jeremy came in specifically in the red zone, Gus, was some of the thought process there, just his performance in the red zone last season was exceptionally good compared to Sean's statistics. Was some of the thought process just his success last year would hopefully carry over?
I think it was kind of all of the above, and then we thought there'd be some running opportunities for him to run too. If you look at the bowl game last year, he ran the football very good in the bowl game, but the holes, weren't quite what they were.
Gus, did you talk about Carry-On's performance at 23 carries? And
Yeah.
Cam Petway, is he going to have a little bit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Cam Petway will have more of a role this game. The good thing is we learned a lot about Carry-On. I think the question that y'all asked quite a bit was, can he hold up, can he be durable and all that? And I think it was a very physical game. He earned a lot of his yards after contact, which I thought was very good. He protected the football. So I was very encouraged by him, and Petway will have a bigger role this game.
Gus, what did you guys see from Sean Saturday night?
Well, Sean's a tough guy. I think everybody knows that. Sean, he took some licks. He hangs in there. He can throw the ball downfield. He bought himself a little time on a couple of those, especially the one that we got the pass interference call. He did an outstanding job of buying himself some time, took a big lick. And he's got a good control of our offense, too.
So you stick with a red zone package for Jeremy if you get in that situation?
Right now, moving forward, like I said, we're going to go with Sean White, and John Franklin will be our number 2 guy.
You've been pretty open in the past about how it takes you a few weeks to kind of figure out the identity of an offense and kind of recalibrate things. This season, more than any, do you see that just because here we are in week 2 and you're already changing things a little bit?
Well, we had a lot of we were curious about a lot of things offensively. We have some new guys, quite a few new guys, playing new positions or just flat out first time they played college football. So we learned a lot about our guys, and I think we'll continue to learn the next couple games about our guys. But the takeaway is we played a pretty good defense. And the takeaway from me is we got a chance to be a good offense, and that's what we're going to continue to thrive to be. And you'll see this offense improve.
How much self-reflection for yourself was there after the game Saturday?
Well, I think any time you lose a close game, you have a chance to win. Those are the ones that hurt. And like I said, if you gotta kind of categorize that, and you got to move forward. You got to put it behind you and move forward, and you got to take away the positive is we can play with anybody in the country. That's what we learned Saturday night. And next time we have that opportunity, we need to win the game against one of the top teams.
We saw a lot of Kyle Davis and then Craig Myers, or more of them late in the game.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue throughout a game?
Both those guys you'll see on the field more and more. They're very talented. They just need game reps. The first half, we were planning on playing our older guys, and I think that's wise, especially, in a big game, the first time they play, and we were going to gradually bring them along. But both those guys, when they were in there, I thought did some really good things, and, those guys will be on the field more and more as we go.
We saw Rudy Ford on offense for a play. Is that
Yeah.
something which is kind of a trick?
No, that's something that, we'll see where that goes. He's electric with the ball in his hands. I think you can see that on kickoff return. Originally, he was a running back when we recruited him here. So, we'll see where that goes, but that was just one of the wrinkles, coming in.
You got Cam Martin and Landon Rice. They didn't get anything out of yet?
Yeah, and Cam Martin's a guy that we really think can help, and he could possibly get in the game. This week we'll see where that goes. Jalen Harris did an outstanding job, for us, and thought he played well for his really first significant role.
I don't mean to sound like I'm attacking you or anything like that, but do you sometimes maybe overthink things a little bit when it comes to game planning for the offense?
You know, what you do is you put a plan together, and that was our plan. And like I said, obviously, it wasn't successful like I thought it would be, and so we're going to move forward, you know, with Sean White and bring along John Franklin.
Gus, in 2006, you saw a divisive quarterback situation firsthand, and there are coaches on your staff who've seen it as well. Cody saw it here, admitted to it being very divisive, called it nonsense in 2008. Was this change you're making in part to try and avoid the issues that you experienced?
Say that again, nonsense, what are we talking about?
I'm saying that Cody experienced a divisive quarterback situation firsthand in 2008 when he was here. It was prior to you here, but
Oh, when I
you
went here,
called it
okay.
at the time. I'm saying
Okay.
it's your change in thought process at quarterback, in part, trying to avoid the issues you.
Well, I mean, well, first of all, there's not going to be any of that nonsense like you're saying in 2008. You know, we're a very close team, and we'll get behind Sean. We're going to bring John Franklin along, and we're going to be fine. So as far as any kind of negativity internally, there'll be zero.
Gus, with the coaching plan, with the offensive line breakdown on Saturday, do you feel like Herb can still stay up in the box?
Yeah, Herb will continue to stay up in the box. And, you know, you got to understand from an offensive line standpoint, that was, as a group, that was their first rodeo. That was their first game together. And like I said, you're talking about 3 different new changes. And you're talking about a pretty good defensive line. And you're talking about they did some different stuff that they hadn't done the year before. And so in their defense, it's a feeling out period. In the second half, we actually moved the football and did a solid job, and I think we outgained them. So, you know, the big question, anytime you got a inexperienced or a young group or a new group, you know, you're always looking from game 1 to game 2. You know, you need to show your biggest improvement. So we're hoping we do that not only as an entire team, but, you know, offensive line the same way.
You preached a lot at media days about winning close games, and that was the
Yeah.
big goal. Now you're
Right.
just by 1 score this time. Do you feel that these changes or what you learned from 1 to 2 will help in now maybe?
You know, I think anytime you have experiences, each team is new. Each year is a new team, new leaders, unless you got everybody coming back. And there's no doubt that we know what it feels like. And, you know, the fact that didn't have any timeouts and we drove down the field and had 2 shots in the end zone, I mean, you take all the positive you can from a game like that and all the negatives you put behind you. You put in your rearview mirror and you move forward. And like I said earlier, the big picture takeaway, when you take away the hurt of losing a close game that you felt like you should have won or could have won, then you put that behind you and you move forward. And the reality is we got a real solid team. And matter of fact, I think we got a chance to be really good. So that's the positive, but you got to put the other one behind and you got to move forward.
Coach, Trooper Taylor's a guy on Arkansas State's staff that you're obviously very familiar with for 3 years here. What's your favorite memory from those 3 years together?
Well, Troop's he's a wonderful person. Troop is a lot of fun. He's a fun guy. Got a great personality. Got a great family. You know, he's been very successful at Arkansas State, and I knew that he would be a good fit for them. And, you know, his son is a big-time player, too.
Coach, Trooper actually recently said that he thinks you're at your best as a coach when there's others who think that you're at your worst.
Say that again.
Trooper recently said that he thinks you're at your best when others think you're at your worst. For better or worse, we know how much perception drives the narrative in college football. What do you say inside the locker room when the perception isn't what you think it should be?
Well, I mean, I think you're always honest with your team. I think that's where it starts. You're always honest with your team, and you know, you give them the plan, and you work, and you improve, and you get better. And that's really the only thing on my mind right now.
Gus, what was your vision with the Chandler Cox Wildcat stuff where he was going to do the pirouette?
Yeah.
How were you thinking that would unfold?
Yeah, well, I thought it would unfold better than it did. They lined up properly and did a good job, you know, with the fits and everything that went with it. You know, he did that in high school. And we've always had the Wildcat and all that, but we just felt like that would be a good wrinkle. And we'll see where that goes, you know, but he was very successful. running that in high school, and he's a guy that we wanted to get touches. I mean, he's a good runner in his own right too, and so that was the plan.
Brent
Talked a little bit
Venables
about
said,
Will Hastings last week. Is that
Brent Venables said that he got word Thursday that you guys might use something along those lines in the wing tee. Does that worry you that things like that are leaking out 2 days before a game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a comment.
talked a little bit about Will Hastings last week? How do you feel about his first performance?
Yeah, I mean, Will's got some natural ability. I mean, he had 2 big third down catches. He had a 4th down catch. You know, he's got some natural things to him. And, you know, from a new guy, you worry about if the moment's too big. And obviously it wasn't. He responded pretty well in pressure moments and thought that was encouraging. You know, he's a real quick guy. He's a fast guy. And thought he did a solid job.
Gus, what did you think of the chemistry of the coaching staff, considering, I mean, you were working with 5 new coaches? I mean, a few of them that you already do, but just the fact that you had to work in 5 on a game day like that.
Yeah, first of all, we got outstanding people. All of our coaches are outstanding people. You know, we're all together, and you know, like I said, I thought the defense played, you know, one of the best performances that we played. I felt like, you know, since I've been here, at least one of the best. You know, because I think what'll happen is that offense, you know, is one of the best in the country. I think it'll even be better as the year goes on as we look back.
When you and Herb specifically, did it feel like old times?
It did. It did feel like old times as far as our communication goes, and you know, Herb's a good one.
Not to give away too much of the game plan, Gus, but Arkansas State's stats last year were very poor against the pass, and they started off the season that way again. You hope to find some success in the passing game, particularly against a team that's struggled pretty.
You know,